Hello everybody. Okay, so it's been a very long time since I made a video, and today's has sort of a special vibe to it. I reset my space to do this one, and I wanted to talk about like intro to spirit work, kind of. I've been trying to make this video for a couple weeks now, and the whole idea came from a clubhouse room I hosted, like deities, angels, and demons, and the follow-up with dark goddesses and serpents. And I realized there's a whole lot of interest in working with spirits and deconstructing our ideas, our programming, our fears, and deconstructing the stories that we've been told, as well as a deep interest in, like, for real, like developing relationships with spirits, or working with them, like for personal development. And I've been, on one hand, I was hesitant to talk about these things because I didn't think any of you all would really be interested in my take on it or my experiences with it, but I was also hesitant because the ways I've gained this experience are really like backwards and not what I would advise for other people. But what I've learned is that there are folks who are interested, and I don't want them to do stupid things that I did, basically. So here we are. We're gonna talk about it a little bit. Oh, I got my honey vanilla chamomile. I have to have it. It's so good. Okay, so to get started, if you want to work with spirits, if you feel like spirits are reaching out to you, if you're literally interested in any tradition that has like an altar and involves spirits being in your space, these are things you need to know, and I'm gonna do my best to be super quick here. So first things first, like spiritual hygiene. I could not say spiritual hygiene enough. We may have talked about this before, but it's number one key. Just like you keep yourself clean, just like you keep your space clean, you really need to keep your energetic body clean, your mind clear, your heart clear, your altar space or any of your magical tools clean, and also your physical body and your home clean and healthy in order to be spiritually safe and successful. If you this can go a couple directions. On the physical side, every time you go walk around somewhere, every time you're out and about in public doing something, you are collecting energy from there, right? Your feet are on the ground in these spaces, collecting this energy. The people around you, their moods, the environment, if it's a greasy restaurant, the air has oil in it. That oil was in the back kitchen, just like the food was. Like, those particles make their way to you. So, showering is a very easy way to do spiritual hygiene. Even if, I don't have a tub in this house, I just have a standing shower. I can make spiritual washes and pour them over myself. I always make my washes on Sunday, even if I don't use it that day. I use it, Monday or something else. But for purification and cleansing, I always make that bath on a Sunday, and you can pour it over your head, pour it over your feet, pour it over your body. When you're in the water, when you're in the shower, you can pray over that water so that as it's running over you, it's cleansing you. And, cleanse yourself of cleanse yourself from, like I said, the energies of the day, of the week, of the month. If you've had, like, a fight with a partner, if you've had my glasses keep cracking against my necklace. If you've had any kind of event, heavily emotional event, even, a success, a joyful one, at some point, you're going to want to clear that out to make way for the new. You don't want to leave old stagnant energy in your space. That's why you clean your altar. Your altar is a space for those spirits to live. You want it to be clean, to be inviting, but you also want to make sure it's clean so you know the baseline energies of what's there. And that's where we move from the material cleaning, the physical, spiritual washes and baths for yourself, floor washes, washing the door, adding your own prayers as you change your sheets, creating your own sprays for the house. Those are all parts of it. When it comes to you and yourself, spiritual hygiene is the same, but it's not so tangible. So instead of, cleaning the altar or doing a bath on your body, you might be asking yourself, what has the current theme of my life been? Has it been very busy or very gentle? What flow am I in? How have I been reacting to things? Like, it's really self-awareness. It's practicing self-awareness, getting to know what your fears and conditions are, like I said, getting to know what your reactions are. So this is getting to know your triggers, your trigger points. I've been telling people to pay attention to how they act in a group versus with themselves, like truly getting a baseline understanding of your moods, your sensations, your emotions, the way they flow, what makes you tick. Because working with spirits, and any part of a spiritual journey, but working with spirits especially, can either bolster these things or prey on them. And sometimes people will be quick to think that a spirit is doing something to them, or that another practitioner of some kind is doing something to them. In reality, it's the person's own fears, their own conditions, their own mental expectations of consequence that are coming to them. So any spirit work, spiritual hygiene, is the absolute base, because it allows you to know what your core situation looks like and feels like day to day. So, I'm trying to remember to breathe. I've been working on breath work, and I get out of breath when I tell these things because I get nervous. So we talked a little bit about discernment, about spiritual hygiene. The other part of that I was talking about was deconditioning. So this is looking at literally everything. Your family values, your family expectations, if your family was religious or not. You see, family is a key part in this, because regardless of how great or not great they were, they shaped you in some ways. And looking at that is important. Has it left you naive somewhere? Has it left you overcautious somewhere? Are you jaded? Are you, what are your views on the afterlife? What has been programmed into you about the afterlife? What has been programmed into you about how God acts, responds, feels, grows, offers grace? In what ways have you been conditioned to grow and to learn and to receive lessons, to receive blessings, to receive it all? It took me a long time to realize that even though I was grateful for a lot of things, when it came down to practicing gratitude, it still felt like a list and like a task. And that's because I really didn't know how to receive in my heart, how to bring something in and accept it. My gratitude practice changed when I began to accept things. So a lot of these base points are really good for any spiritual journey, not just for like trying to work with specific spirits. The other part of this deconditioning that's very important is because there are a lot of spirits that you might be interested in, or that might come to you, that have a bad rap in some ways. And like, when I was a little younger, I used to think, well, if they have this reputation, like, it's for a reason. And usually, yes, if it looks like a duck, it smells like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck. But in this case, the flip was me beginning to wonder why stories were being told about deities and spirits the ways that they were. I mean, a quick Google search will tell you that Lucifer, as an angel, is a phenomenal angel, but B, the name of a deity of the dawn. Lucifer, Luciferos, and Iasphoros, and I think Phosphoros are like the three names that I remember. But they're a Greco-Roman deity of the dawn, and that name was like added in, to the Bible, all that good stuff. I advise you to do your own research, because by the time I talk about it, I'm always like, mixing it up. But a quick Google search will tell you that there's a lot more than what you've been shown. A lot of us, even if we weren't raised in some kind of religious practice or a church somewhere, we're still in, at least as far as I know, like my kind of audience, we're all still in the U.S. It's still very much founded on patriarchal Christianity, capitalism and patriarchal Christianity. So our values are kind of skewed in the greater picture. And spirits, deities, angels, these primordial beings, these ancient entities aren't looking at things from a human perspective. So your personal view of right, of wrong, of good, of bad, of scary and not scary don't apply. The way angels normally look or not normally, but naturally would appear is horrifying. It's terrifying. It's wonderful, but it's terrifying. There's all the eyes all over the place, and their wings and feet, and, there's a lot happening there. That's not what you normally think of, something coming to your rescue, or something that's going to be gentle and uplifting. You don't usually think of a ball of flaming eyes and wings. A lot of times we are told incomplete truths about deities, about all kinds of figures. Jesus, for example, I really felt like the image of Jesus that we get is very neutered. And in reality, the spirit of Jesus is very much light and truth and like very much about faith and hope, but also personal practice, personal accountability, personal relationship with God, and I would say practicing magic for sure. So, let me see. So yeah, but deconditioning. What is it that you've been taught, told, shown? And then what are you curious about? What experiences have you had? I just caught 10-10 and 11-11. So that's a big part of it. Moving on, we did hygiene. We talked about deconditioning, discernment. Okay, so working with spirits, any kind of spirit work, discernment is key. And this is something that you need to have as a skill, again, in any spiritual path and in every walk of life. Is a decision a good decision to make? What are the consequences of this decision? Weighing out an argument or a conversation between a couple people. Pardon me. You have to really be listening not just to the words of people, but the energy, their body language, the way they speak, their tone of voice, the cadence, etc. So to me, discernment is very much listening for all changes. It's measuring all variables. It's also a system of checks and balances. So I've been doing spirit work for a long time. It's something I very naturally came into, and I love working with spirits. I've always loved it. I love learning about them. I advise that you study mythology, study fairy tales, study the religions of different areas of your ancestors, any pantheons that you're just interested in. Study those things. Get to build up a sort of database of symbols that are kind of, related to certain spirits, or a database of groups and subsets, different chthonic deities. They're not all alike. They won't all get along. They're from different pantheons, different groups, different expressions of death. But the common theme is that they're all facets or faces of death. And you'll start to find themes in all of these spaces. But there's a lot of research. So this isn't something that's just like overnight all the time. You don't want to rush into it. Even having a natural ability or a gift for it doesn't mean you need to overwhelm yourself with doing things. So yeah, getting to know all the information that you can so that you can recognize some of the signs or symbols of a spirit is important. In order to recognize things that might be coming to you also, you have to kind of look at what the themes in your life are. So I don't know, I'm not really shy about sharing that I've had a lot of different traumas in my life, and the type of entities and, angels and deities that I work with are kind of heavier, serious entities. Lilith is one. I talk about her a lot. Lucifer is one. I've talked about him. Archangel Michael, I have this here, is one. So But they're very strong. They're very strong spirits. Where was I going with that? Don't rush. Don't overwhelm yourself. Oh, paying attention to your alignments. Okay, sorry. It's been kind of a long day, but in a good way. But pay attention to the themes of your life. The themes in my life have been, I've had a lot of sexual traumas. I've grown through some different kinds of abandonment issues or things. Themes that drive me to be passionate about, bodily autonomy and safety and transformation. I have a natural, alignment with death and rebirth. I have, strong Scorpio placements and, eighth house placements. I love death and rebirth. It's a natural way for me to understand the world. It's a natural way for me to understand myself and other people and magic and a very effective set of themes for me to move my magic through. Death and rebirth is a medium that I use. So it makes sense that death and rebirth type entities are around me. If you have a theme of, I don't know, gardening, your great-grandmother gardens, your grandmother gardens, you garden, your mom gardens, you all garden. 9 times out of 10, sis, you're going to have a garden spirit. You're going to have a green thumb spirit, somebody that's growing things. And that can translate into fertility, into money, etc., etc. And I mean, I don't say that to say that this is transactional. It's not like you have this spirit, so X thing will happen. It's honestly more like if you have spirits that want to be in your court, or, and I'm not initiated into a tradition, so I'm always confused when my court says over your head, like they claim your head, because I don't actually from within a tradition understand that concept fully. But I understand that the entities and deities that I have on my head in my court, or have made any type of working contract with, I am a representation of them. I'm a representation of them here. And we have a relationship with one another, and in some ways we're beholden to one another to uphold certain things. So relationships with entities are, I mean, you can have transactional ones, but I advise you to take time to build relationships, very much. I have done work with different spirits, like goetic demons, for like just simple money things and little transactions, and they've worked out perfectly fine. I have felt good and safe and happy, and I would recommend the spirit to people. I'm not going to say their name on here right now, but I would recommend this spirit to people, and that's fine. But the most success, the most safety, the safest growth, and the most you-specific and appropriate systems happen when you build relationships with spirits that you're naturally aligned with. So really getting to know your family history, where your ancestors are from, what their religious practices might have been, and what natural running themes in your family are, good, bad, otherwise, be it addiction or, having a lucky streak at the casino. That was actually two things on the different end of the same spectrum, but something like that could run in your family. The other things that can land you with naturally aligned spirits, of course, are the spirits associated with your born day of the week, the hour you were born, the spirits associated with the planet that rules your chart, if you have your natal chart, and spirits that you might share a name with. So things like that. There are a lot of things that you can have natural alignments because of. And sometimes those spirits will pursue a relationship with you because of this natural alignment. So those are all things that can happen, but discernment is key. So asking who they are, asking for double confirmation of who they are, asking for some kind of proof of it, asking, your other guides and your other court to make sure that you're only being brought the most honorable, loving, supportive spirits to be working with. Being very specific in your words. Okay, words are powerful. Words are a whole entire portal. You don't need candles. You don't need anything. All you need is your mouth. You just need to speak. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to speak. If you think it properly, if you put yourself in that mental space, you can do so much just from your mind. That's dangerous and powerful and phenomenal all at once. It makes me think of a series of books I read. The author was Libba Bray. And one of the titles was A Great and Terrible Beauty. And the other one, it was a 3-book series. But anyway, A Great and Terrible Beauty and The Sweet Far Thing were 2 of my favorite titles. And I think that's what power really is, a great and terrible beauty. Because it's so easy for the ego to get lost in that. Anyway, speaking is very powerful. If you want to work with spirits, if you want to do any spiritual work at all, mind your mouth. Mind your tongue, mind your thoughts and what comes out of them. Mind how you feel when you're speaking. I haven't really spoke too many spirits' names while I'm sitting here because that is, for me, very easily an invitation. Like, I have a lot of energy that moves this way. That's an invitation. So, and that's the other thing, is that sometimes you might speak a spirit's name. And there's a reason that certain spirits are not super well known, and it's because not everybody should be doing this stuff, not because they're all evil. Not saying that there are not very malevolent spirits out there, because there are, so speaking is very powerful. If you want to work with a spirit, learn about them. Study them, maybe find a sigil for them or create your own, but only speak their name out loud when you're ready to do some work with them, because when it comes down to it, every entity is expansive, is different, has a whole lot going on, and isn't the same at every level. Archangel Michael, when you call him for protection, is one thing. But Archangel Michael, after y'all know each other and you have gifts and you're supposed to be doing something, is a whole nother angel. He's not going to be as gentle or as, I don't even know the right word. Because spirits will move you through growth spaces. You have to be mindful of what you ask for and the way you ask it. Spirits will move you through growth spaces. So that was, what else? Oh, some etiquette. Sorry, I was trying to be quick because I want to do the other video in its own little section. Actually, no, I won't. So you want to have a sense of etiquette also. I like doing these like discussions, so don't mind me, you guys. But you want to have a sense of etiquette, and that's part of the reason I put this table together today. And the other part is because my angel said to be extra, and I am going to start setting up entire spaces again for these videos. So I digress. We have our table here. It's very simple, it's very clean. I actually have a piece of pink, lace under the white lace, but this is we're doing white head covering. I got white here, we got white here. You want to be protected. White is going to reflect like all the shits that you do not want. So white, purity, nice and clean. I'm not always perfect at wearing white on my head. I have 900 other colors that I wear, but if I'm coming to the altar, if I'm doing any ritual work, guaranteed nothing but white comes up here. Actually, I have a different scarf that I wear. So we have our white cloth, nice and clean. These flowers are actually old, but I keep, roses and other flowers through their whole cycle. So I have these up here. This white feather, I love feathers for communication. Birds signify, having a bird's eye view, being able to have some foresight, and also just travel and astral travel. So this table is kind of like an altar, and I'm trying to bring in elements that correspond to the work, that correspond to who I want to work with, that makes it inviting for them and also effective for me. So that, you want the items on there to match what you're doing. And I'm a firm believer in having an altar space for any spirit work until you have a really good relationship with that spirit. And, you guys can work out, more casual parameters from there. But whenever I am starting work with a spirit or doing any ritual things, I make an altar for them. So I have Archangel Michael up here. If you want to move beyond just like Googling stuff and speaking spirits' names, get something simple. This is an Archangel Michael luminary. I got it at a, metaphysical shop I used to work at, and it just has little LED lights in it, so we're not really doing the whole fire risk here so much. But it has the image of the spirit in a protective stance, okay? Archangel Michael is really known for protection, so you have to recognize that spirits have different facets of themselves. The Greco-Roman pantheons, I always mix them together, but the Greek and Roman pantheons, their deities have epithets. One of the goddesses that we touched on in the clubhouse discussion was Hecate. And one of her epithets is like Hecate Trivia, and she's not the only goddess with that, but it speaks to her nature as possibly being three-headed or as a, maiden mother crone. Pardon me, Apollo has different epithets, and, those called different facets of him. The Orisha and I think the Orisha, as I understand it, have caminos or roads. So these are different parts of themselves, their experiences, their lessons, their gifts and powers, their temperaments. And it's important to A, know which one you're trying to call, but B, get to know all of them a little bit. Somebody made a very good point that the more names you know, you should be calling them. You should be addressing all of the facets that you know of this divine being. So yeah, build a relationship, have relevant items out, things that they recognize, their own picture, pictures of spirits that they are family with or work well with. something like that. I have plain white candles here, a glass of water. I always have water up there, partially just because I like having water on my altar, and then I usually have a second glass for offering as well. And then something I like to have up is either something sweet or money or both. And in this case, I have chocolate coins. They're gold coins, and I don't know, everybody has their own thing, but these just feel fun to me on the altar, and my spirits seem to be like very okay with them. I use a blend of real money and ancestor money, so they're always getting cash either way, but this is a fun way to do it. And because I work with a lot of psychopomp type spirits and messaging type gifts, having any kind of coin on hand to me is always good. So you always express your gratitude, pay spirits for their time, like make sure that you're literally caring about it, at the very least as much as you would care about a really good business relationship, if not a personal like friend or family relationship. They aren't, human in any way, but nothing wants to be disrespected, nothing wants to be in a dirty space or have old glasses or never get offerings. Like, that's not cool. Not cool at all. Okay. What else? When you go to the altar, make sure you're fresh and clean. Please, for the love of God, make sure you're fresh and clean. Wash your hands, wash your face, brush your teeth, kind of have your hair out of your face, or again, ideally wrap it. But go to the altar clean and respectful and prepared. I speak honestly at my altar. I bring them things not just when I'm happy, not just when I'm sad, but I try to just bring them myself, and that was something that came up. I don't know. I'm just trying to give credit to the room because that's what inspired this. So yeah, coming to the altar clean, fresh, and respectful and authentic. Actually talk to your people. I cannot emphasize building a relationship enough. But you know what I mean? Get to know what spirits you can swear with or not. Get to know what spirits like to drink, like to smoke, prefer just prayer. Get to know who wants coffee in the morning. My spirits do not want me to put cream in the coffee. Ever. They are totally fine if I put spices in it, if I put cocoa powder in it. Even on occasion, for a couple of them, a little dab of honey. But no white sugar and no milk. No cream. Like, it's very particular. So the more you spend time there, and the more you spend time there, honestly, the better the relationship is, the more you can hear them, and the more it comes from it. The point of spirit work should never be just for yourself, but for the betterment and the upliftment, the elevation, the freedom of your whole lineage, forwards and backwards, ancestors and descendants, like putting it together. Okay, I'm trying to think. They for real, like I tried to make this video so many times, and they for real were not having it until I did like a few things. Okay. Last point, super important. If you want to work with goddesses, with demons, with angels, and everything I've just said totally fits, you're like, this is my shit, please know that in-depth spirit work is a lifetime or more commitment. It's a lifetime or more commitment. It's not like, okay, I studied this deity and I work with them some and we do rituals some, and I'm going to be initiated into working with them. And I say this because a lot of the deities that I work with or talk about, or the entities that I work with or talk about, are not part of a currently living tradition. A lot of the initiations, a lot of the checkpoints and milestones and things occur in your personal life, and it's imperative that you know how to go about it safely and aware, so that you're not getting in over your head. Spiritual work is a big commitment. It's a very big commitment. Spirits take up space in your home. They take up space in your energy field. They have their own demands for the different hours of the day and what to do. Take your time. Take your time very much. They have their own expectations. And I believe it was Courtney in the room, because again, I want to give credit, who phrased it so beautifully, and I'm going to butcher the phrasing, but she reminded, because I've done all of this work very much like as a hermit, kind of on my own. It's very, I'm a very intense person, and spirituality really is like my purpose and my passion. So it's easy for me to forget that other people aren't experiencing things the way that I am. And so, or with the natural dedication to it. It doesn't, I don't know. I feel like I phrased that weird, but even if you want to be in spirit work, you might not want to be in it at this level. It might not be the one thing that you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you making commitments that are more than you thought they would be. A lot of these deities will want you to be doing their work through you. And that might align with your purpose. Maybe you are a midwife. Maybe you're passionate about food being accessible. Maybe you are led to be a prosecutor or like a lawyer. No, I said a prosecutor or a lawyer. But whatever it is, maybe you're led to do something particular. And so whatever the deity wants is natural. Maybe it's a deity of justice, of truth, of healing. They will still want to be heard. Every spirit at the table will want to be heard. They all want to speak. All of them. The more you have, the more you feel it. None of this, I say all of this, smiling and laughing at points, but it's all serious. It's not super light. There were times that I was like doing, oh God, it's like doing a lot, like self-initiating into different like energetic currents and spaces, and astral traveling out into spaces to see entities or to try to experience a certain energy field while trying to work through healing. And in that, I swear to God, I experienced like a touch of madness. People talk about being able to attract things like leeches and parasites spiritually for a reason. And had I not already done several years of like deep on purpose shadow work and emotional work, I would not have recognized that I had attracted leeches and parasites spiritually. Because when I was doing the work that I was doing, I wasn't taking breaks, I wasn't integrating, I wasn't giving myself days for a clear mind. I was already under emotional duress, and I was unhappy, and I was doing hours of daily ritual. That's not healthy. It's not healthy, and it's not safe. And as a matter of fact, I think the only reason that God has let me live through so many different types of things like that is to just tell people not to do it. Okay? Like, I have mixed all kinds of different drugs together. I have done spell work while drinking, like all kinds of stuff that literally could have killed me. And I have done death and rebirth rituals and literally seen myself die. The skin from my bones gone. That's not a light thing, and that comes with the commitment of doing this work so that I can not only be, a service, a heart of service, a priestess to God in this life, but so that I can do it in the afterlife. I'm trying to put my whole consciousness together. When you start playing with spirits, that's the game that you're getting into. You're starting to realize that these things are far bigger than you are. These angels are eons. These things were made by God to govern God's world, to make the spirits and the planets move, to govern the seasons, to instruct humanity. This isn't small stuff. I don't say that to really discourage anybody who is super interested in it, but it's very important that you understand that aside from light transactional things, it can be very deep. It can be very deep. Any lasting initiations, attunements, things that bring a spirit into you is forever, and they are going to want to be honored and heard and expressed and felt through you. It's the most rewarding thing of my life. I love it, but it's intense and it's not for everybody. So yeah, that was that. That was that. What else? I really wanted to make the Dark Goddesses and Serpents video, but I'm making this how they're dictating it. So, some of the goddesses that we talked about were Kali Ma, Freya, Frigg, Hecate, Persephone, Lilith, Tiamat, and Isis and Inanna. And we were talking about how a lot of the stories of these goddesses, like Inanna's descent into the underworld and back, Isis collecting Osiris's body and remaking him, a lot of these stories can illustrate initiations. And so it's important to keep in mind that if you work with any of these goddesses, again, those initiations can come up if they want to work with you long term. They represent the growth of the goddess at times. They represent her ascent into her power. And we can see that a lot of these figures have been vilified over the years. We can see that a lot of these figures have been made much smaller than they're meant to be over the years. Sorry, I'm losing steam a little bit. I get up like at 4 and 6 and then start doing things around 6:30 or 7, and so my brain is a little scrambled. I don't know why they wanted this video made at night, but that's okay too. Okay, but anyway, a lot of the goddesses that we see rising up claiming their daughters, for lack of a better term, you know, man, woman, femme, nothing in between, not being perceived, doesn't matter. They're claiming their people. These goddesses are coming to help humanity through its dark night or nights of the soul, to help us through the birth canal, to push us through it, to guide us through it, to deliver us through it. Goddesses that are purifiers, that are transformers. Kali Ma is an absolute powerhouse of transformation. But she's also one of the most loving, nurturing mothers. Sekhmet can help you move through rage. She also expresses, passion and protection. But she's also a facet of Hathor, or Hathor of Sekhmet, or, they of one another. Through time, the image of the mother, of a whole woman, of a whole goddess existing, has been very erased. It's as if they're trying to erase a piece of a spectrum, and you really can't do that. But those energies are coming back very, very strongly. And we see themes of independence, of sexuality, of transformation, of medicine and vision and psychic ability. And that room had kind of been talking about that, and talking a little bit about serpents and serpents in mythology and different serpent deities and astral travel and things like that. There's just so much there to uncover. There's so much there to uncover. Study the myths of Tiamat, of Isis, of Inanna. Study the myths and different stories of Lilith and the themes. And look at the ways that women have been vilified over the years. Even, like, one of my favorite examples is Mary, Mother of God, and Mary Magdalene. And Mary, Mother of God, whom I love and is phenomenal, is often, elevated in the Catholic Church, but as the mother of Jesus and as being faithful. And that's it. That's her personality. You're telling me that a woman raised in the temple who was okay with bearing God's child's whole personality is faith? I don't think so. And you're telling me Mary Magdalene, who was one of the top disciples, super smart in her own right, had her own money, was understanding divine truths, helping Jesus do his thing, who was wrongly labeled as a prostitute by the church, though it shouldn't and, fucking matter. and you know, the church took that away. Is that her only thing? Does she not have gentle qualities? Does she not have qualities of grace? Does she not have qualities of a quiet, faithful woman? Why are she and Mary such opposites? So, anyway, that's the end of that for real. I really don't have any more in me. They just wanted some specific messages shared. But I really hope that this is helpful, and I love you guys so much, and I will be back with lots more videos very soon. The website is up. I'm adding new things to that. I've been on Twitter a lot. You can catch me on Clubhouse, but otherwise, I don't know. You know how to reach me. I'm kind of a hermit, but y'all know how to reach me. So if you have questions, do please reach out. And that's it. Mwah. I love you. All right. Stay healthy. Stay hydrated. Check your perspective. Be kind to one another. All right. For real. Bye.